facilities starting Monday. This includes for all vaccinated and unvaccinated people at places like the Greensboro Coliseum, the Aquatic Center, and City Hall. If the positivity rate continues to rise, the city says it will consider implementing additional safety measures. We are working to learn more about this mandate, and we will have more tonight on WFMY News 2 at 5. Now to our next top story. Guilford County's emergency mask mandate is now in effect until next Thursday when county commissioners meet again.
The mandate does not include the city of Greensboro outside of those city buildings or High Point because the whole county commission has not voted on it yet. Right now, the mayors have to sign off before the mandate can be fully implemented, but there's pushback on this mandate tonight. WFMY News 2's Jenna Krzina spoke with both Greensboro and High Point city mayors about where they stand on this new mandate.
Ben and Lauren, for both the mayors of High Point and the city of Greensboro, both of them want to make one thing very clear. They're not against masks. They are still encouraging people to wear them, but they both have different reasons as to why they're not fully on board with the Guilford County Board of Commissioners decision, though. The mask mandate went into effect early this morning at midnight. The several places will be impacted by this are like Jamestown and Gibsonville, but it does not include Greensboro or High Point. According to county officials, city mayors have to sign off on the mandate before it can be implemented within each city. Mayor Nancy Vaughn says she doesn't support businesses having to enforce the mandate. Mayor Jay Wagner says he questions how effective it would be.
We're 2 years into this. Everybody knows what to do. They know how to protect themselves, their family, their community. People are perfectly capable of making their own risk assessments and judging for themselves what they need to do. We don't need government mandating things anymore. They know what to do.
Obviously, we support people wearing masks and we encourage people to wear masks. I wear a mask every day. The concern that I have in particular was really requiring small businesses to be the enforcement arm when it comes to this.
Guilford County Commissioners will be meeting again next week to continue the conversations on this mask mandate. Coming up at 5 and 6, hear from some local businesses and how they have been doing with enforcing this mandate as we've been going through this pandemic.
Jenna, thank you. No surprise here, the announcement is getting a lot of attention on social media. Chris wrote, "I'm vaxxed and boosted. This is getting ridiculous. Masking won't end this. Getting vaccinated is the best protection." Stephen said, "Don't care what they try to do. I will not comply. Masks and vaccines are proven not to work." Wendy chimed in, "If businesses are not going to enforce it, this is useless. Those that will wear a mask are still doing so without a mandate in place. Those that won't wear one will still don't wear, even if a mandate is in effect. Pointless. Mandate vaccines for entry into certain venues if you really want to see progress." Ryan wrote, "Guess I'm going to High Point and other counties that do not have mask mandates." And Karen said, "Thank goodness for the mayors of Greensboro and High Point for not signing off. Most getting infected are not vaccinated. If they continue to refuse vaccinations, they won't wear a mask anyway, at least not correctly."
Long waits for both COVID-19 testing and results continue at the StarMed COVID-19 testing location at Four Seasons Town Center. Wait times at the site have been anywhere from 2 to 4 hours over the past week. Now, some people say it's been almost a week and they still don't have their results. StarMed leaders say they are doing everything they can with the unanticipated demand, which is more than 10 times what it was 10 weeks ago.
It's gut-wrenching for the organization because a lot of these people that are waiting, we know that some people are immunocompromised, some people might be undergoing cancer therapy treatment.
There is a number to call if you haven't gotten your results in 72 hours, but the CEO says half of their call center staff are out sick with COVID-19.
The surge in testing is leading to a surge in new cases. The state says it learned of more than 20,000 new cases in the past 24 hours. It's a new all-time high. The past 7 days have surpassed 10,000 cases, and they're all much higher than the numbers that came before them. It's important you see how this recent spike compares to the past year. This graph shows every day since January 1st of 2021 rather. You likely remember the big spike that we were seeing around January, around this time last year. We peaked at 11,000 cases back then. Now consider this, today's number is nearly double that. In fact, 6 of the last 7 days have surpassed that high from last January.
The CDC is changing its wording on testing requirements after shortening its recommended isolation time frame. The agency says the best approach now is to get a rapid at-home COVID test before ending your isolation. But it is not a requirement that you do that. The agency says anyone who goes into isolation and wants a test would get the best results only if that person is fever-free for 24 hours without using medicine. New recommendations say anyone vaccinated or unvaccinated can leave isolation after 5 days if they wear a mask and don't have symptoms. Now, if a person ends their isolation period after that 5 days without getting a COVID test, a lot of people online wondered, are they still contagious? Let's verify.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is facing criticism in viral social media posts after it changed its isolation and quarantine guidelines for people who test positive for COVID-19. Several Twitter users claim a person who tests positive can still infect others, even after isolating for 5 days, as recommended by the new guidelines. So let's verify. Can a person still be contagious more than 5 days after their first positive COVID-19 test? Our sources are the CDC, the World Health Organization, Houston Methodist Hospital, and Harvard Medical School. The CDC says the change is motivated by science and explained COVID-19 is most contagious from 2 days before symptoms begin and up to 3 days after. The CDC did not say a person is no longer contagious after 5 days, only that they no longer have to isolate, and recommends they strictly wear masks when away from home for an additional 5 days. Doctors at Houston Methodist Hospital and Harvard Medical School determined people are likely no longer contagious 10 days after symptoms begin. So it's true, a person can still be contagious more than 5 days after the first positive COVID-19 test.
Post-holiday travel woes continue with thousands of flights canceled over the weekend. A rise in COVID-19 infections is leaving airlines short-staffed and has some passengers rethinking their travel plans. Pam Siegel is the owner of Travel Leaders in High Point. She says she's received several calls from clients concerned about the possibility of flight cancellations over the next few weeks. Her advice: be flexible and continue to monitor the situation.
Good thing about the flights right now is that you can really cancel with no penalty. So if your plans are flexible and they are canceling the flights and you feel safer staying at home right now rather than maybe spending the night in the airport, then I do recommend you just go ahead and postpone your trip.
The CDC recently issued a new travel advisory warning U.S. residents to avoid cruise travel. Siegel says she's starting to see some cruise cancellations too.
It's difficult to plan ahead when we don't know what's going on and what's going to happen. I am telling my agents as well as my customers that I think we need to go ahead and make our reservations, go forward with what we are planning to do, and we need to try to adapt to the new rules and the new regulations going forward.
Whether you plan to travel domestically or internationally, Siegel says it's best to invest in travel insurance on the off chance you test positive for COVID-19.
The 64th Grammy Awards have been postponed as the nation sees a spike in COVID cases. The show was canceled for the 31st, but will now be rescheduled at a later date. Nominations for the awards were announced back in November. When we have a new air date, we will be sure to share that with you on air and online.
New at 4, at least 13 people died when a public housing building in Philadelphia caught fire this morning. 7 of those victims were children. Firefighters say 8 people escaped and smoke detectors appeared to be working. Investigators are working to determine what caused that fire.
Traffic is flowing again on a stretch of Interstate 95 in Virginia after hundreds of drivers were stranded Monday night in a winter storm. Transportation teams spent yesterday diverting drivers off the nearest exits to clear the highway, where a truck jackknifed and caused a domino effect of other crashes. All drivers that stayed with their cars were helped off the highway, and all abandoned cars were removed from the interstate.
I hope you're having a wonderful start to your Wednesday. Temperatures on the warmer side of things. A lot of folks walking outside wondering what is in the sky. Well, we're just seeing some cumulus clouds out there and getting to see peaks of sunshine as well. Our satellite and radar kind of showing you that. You can see these hints of grays on here. That's that cloud cover. When I widen out the view, the reason why I'm doing this is simply because I'm helping you become your at-home meteorologist. This is what we do. Look towards the west to see what's heading our way. Now, there's not much to really see here, but I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on this Texas-Louisiana border as this area of low pressure develops and then tracks its way across the southeast and then potentially brings us some rain or even some places around the area some snow. But that's still the back end of things. We're also going to be definitely talking about how cold it is because today is more than likely going to be the warmest day over the next 7 days. This cold front right here is going to help to pump in cold air behind it. That's that area of low pressure that I was talking about, riding up along that boundary, bringing us some mix of weather for your late Thursday going into your Friday. But behind it, that cold air will certainly build its way in, and those temperatures will fall back down into the 20s overnight. And then for the afternoon, we'll struggle to even see some 40s on some days. I'll be breaking it all down very soon.
Chicago public students were not in class today and won't be for a while after the teachers union voted to go back to remote learning. District leaders say the union told its members, its teachers, in a memo that January 18th would be the next day of in-person instruction. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said the union does not have the authority to make that decision.
There are so many reactions online to this story. Let's take a look at what some of you are saying. Henry says, good thing they didn't ask for parents or children's inputs. Politics is never about the children. Another user, just do the remote learning for 2 weeks. Come on. Someone else chimed in, teachers want to teach safely. Admin would rather just cancel school. William said remote instruction during the pandemic has been disastrous for children's learning and mental health. Yes, it has been my son. Might as well skip an entire year of remote learning. It didn't do him any good, nor did he learn as much as he should have. And one other user wrote, "We've known about Omicron since Thanksgiving. We've had weeks to prioritize, but Americans chose office parties, vacations, bars, get-togethers. Throughout this entire pandemic, experts said you couldn't have school if you didn't slow the outbreaks. America chose this."
The thing that I find interesting about this is it's unclear who has the power to do these kinds of things. You've got the teachers union saying that they voted to cancel classes. You've got the mayor up there saying they don't have the power to do that. So who really does have the power, and what's the decision once they finally make the decision?
And yesterday we learned from Guilford County and our Guilford County Health Department that schools are actually the safest place for kids to be because that's where they're following all the protocols right now. So you really think that you want your kids in school at the moment.
It's a tricky situation, but I think we just can't lose sight of the children. You know, they've had it rough throughout the last 20 months or so, so we need to make sure that they're getting the best education that they can while keeping them safe and the teachers safe. So whatever that is, I hope that we can get to that resolution.
I hope you're right. We'll be right back.
Well, I know a lot of the folks are asking, okay, so what's going to happen on Thursday? We hinted at the potential for some snow, but now things are sounding a little bit different. Well, the Futurecast can help to answer some of those questions. As we go into tonight, those temperatures will fall back down into the low 40s, upper 30s, and you can see the timestamp on there. We're talking 3 a.m. And then as we go overnight into the start of your Thursday, we're going to even get even cooler than that. But then as we transition into the afternoon on Thursday, that area of low pressure I was talking about making its way a little bit closer here, and you can see some of the mountains already dealing with some rain. Now the heavy rain even starts to move in across most of the triad by the afternoon, early evening time frame, right around 7 p.m. We're seeing more rainfall across the area. This blue you're seeing here is the hinting of snow, but you can see it's not so much across the triad, it's to the north and west of us. And then then as we go overnight, it's still looking mostly like rain and not necessarily snow. That snow picture is being painted a little bit further north, which is a little bit different compared to yesterday. But not all of these weather models that we use as meteorologists to guide us on putting together the forecast are showing that same picture. But for the most part, I believe the snow is going to trend northward and westward. So mountains more likely, and in Virginia, definitely.
We should also add that it could be raining a lot of money soon because the Powerball jackpot is now up to $610 million for tonight's drawing, making it the 7th largest jackpot in the game's history. No one picked all the winning numbers Monday night, but lottery officials say 3 lucky people did become millionaires. There were more than 1.8 million tickets that won a cash prize from Monday's drawing. The lump sum payout for a jackpot winner would be $434 million. That is a whole lot of money. Your chances of winning the full prize, 1 in 292.2 million.
I see Chad shaking his head over there. Well, the odds of winning may seem unlikely, but it would be life-changing if you did win, right? So I asked you on Facebook what you would do with the money if you were the lucky winner. Kenny Diane Chambers says a 10% goes to God, then I'll pray for my next direction to take. A lot of people actually had that same answer. Betty Cox says I would buy land and build houses for my circle, which is my immediate family, also pay off all our debt. Anthony Ashton wrote, build some apartments and a rehab program for the homeless and our women and children center and let them go through a program to get themselves back on their feet rent-free for 1 year. Michael Webb says get my pilot's license for my new Honda Jet. And then Jason Wright says disappear after all my bills were paid off. Jeffrey Dunnigan, I'm pulling in Antonio Brown.
Leaving in the middle of the workday.
Just gonna peace. Where's she going? She won the lottery.
It makes you feel good that so many people are saying they do these things for charity with the money.
Right, but I think I think once you win, then you'll see really what people are going to do with the money. It's easy to say now that I'd give half of it to a charity, but once you actually get that money, different story.
But that's a lot of money. Like, what exactly would you do with all that money? I feel like that's too much money for one person. And if you're not investing or you're not buying your mom a house or a car or giving it to charity, you're kind of just what are you going to do with all that money?
Travel the world.
I'm going to buy an island, a nice big one. And then I'm going to buy a nice big jet to take all my friends to the island and pick them up and drop them off.
And you can hire the guy who just got his pilot license.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. So would you actually walk up as yourself and just go pick it up, or would you put a mask on or like hide yourself? I know for myself, I'd probably take an Uber there maybe so people wouldn't even recognize my car. You know what I'm saying?
I would wear, well, we're supposed to wear the mask indoors, right?
Yeah.
So I'll wear a mask, you know, just change my hairstyle up a little bit, and I'll just go buy like LC Cole or something.
And I would definitely take my attorney and an accountant for sure, because I don't know what to do with all that money right away.
That's a lot of money.
I know Lauren is waiting for me to give my honest opinion about the lottery, and here is it. You are not going to win. You will not be winning.
And hopefully that's the one person who will win.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Right, if they
and I
win,
hope they call you out, and we're going to invite them onto the 4 to 5.
I will do a whole 2 cents about how I felt so stupid when I said those things on TV. I promise you. But you're not going to win. It's not going to happen.
He's such a Debbie Downer.
Someone has to win,
Let us dream and think
I agree.
about it.
Someone has to win, but it's no one who's watching us right now.
Oh, what?
I'm saying that.
Let's
I'm saying
hold him to this. You know this is live
statement.
television right now.
No, Greensboro, Kernersville had the first $1 million lottery winner of the COVID vaccine lottery, so why not this?
His face, he's like, nah,
not gonna happen.
Still not gonna happen.
The good thing is that doesn't the money go to education when people do participate?
For some of the lottery, I don't know which lottery, because you know there's Mega Millions and there's Powerball. I'm not really sure which of those. I think it's the state lottery though.
Oh.
Either way.
Anyway.
Someone watching this,
It's
it
not
might
gonna
be
win.
you, and we're gonna prove Chad Silver wrong.
Fingers crossed.
Because I'm sick of him being a Debbie Downer.
We'll be right back. Maybe if they allow me back.
For many of us, 2021 stole our peace and locked it in a prison of discouragement. Today, Coach Lamont hands you the keys to unlock yourself and awaken the success within.
Trauma has a way of making you feel trapped in the pain of yesterday. You may have had a traumatic experience in your life, either as an adult or as a child. Unresolved trauma leaves you in a state of captivity. Loved ones become lifetime visitors, never allowed to get close to you. Dreams become fantasies you visit as a way of escape. As one who was sexually molested, I understand and I have been there. Don't be afraid to reach beyond the bars of the mental prison to obtain the freedom that you deserve. What was meant to destroy you no longer has power to keep you bound. This is me tossing the keys to the cell. Unlock yourself from the mental prison. It was not your fault. You don't deserve to pay the price for the actions of others. You are free to come out and live. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Good Wednesday afternoon to you. I'm Chad Silver here with Lauren Coleman, Ben Briscoe, and Monique Robinson.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5. Whether you're watching at home, online, Fire Stick, Roku, and the WFMY News 2 app. So many ways to watch us. Another cold day across the Triad. So Monique, we will check in with you in a bit. But first, let's go ahead and hop into some news.
Yeah, we begin this half hour on the heels of what has turned into an important day in our nation's history. January 6th. Tomorrow marks 1 year since the deadly attack on the Capitol. Since then, federal investigators have tried and charged many for their participation in that riot. One veteran Capitol police officer reflects on that day nearly 1 year later.
At the west entrance, as rioters scaled scaffolding set up for the inauguration, Capitol Police Sergeant Akolina Gonell was beaten and his spirit nearly broken.
Are you suffering?
Yes. I mean, from every day for me has been a January 6th.
On Twitter, the 16-year veteran of the Capitol Police Force documented his injuries to dispel claims that minimize last year's violence. Gonell told us he still can't shake the trauma.
The way I sleep, from the way I put my shirt on, the way I take a shower, the physical therapy twice a week, the mental health therapy once a week.
Gonell, who testified to Congress earlier this year, is now doing administrative work rather than patrols.
It's been hard, emotionally, physically, and financially as well, too.
The Select Committee investigating the attack on the Capitol now wants to hear from Fox News host Sean Hannity about his text messages with the White House before the riots. On December 31st, Hannity texted then White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, "I do not see January 6 happening the way he is being told." 5 days later, to an unknown recipient, Hannity wrote, "I'm very worried about the next 48 hours." And on January 10th, to Meadows and Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan, "Guys, we have a clear path to land the plane in 9 days. He can't mention the election again." Hannity's lawyer told CBS News they are reviewing the committee's request. Now, nearly a year after about 140 police officers were assaulted, some with lethal weapons, Gonell says action needs to be taken to prevent this from happening again.
If we don't put a deterrent on some of these and hold people accountable for what they did, this could be a recurring thing every 4 years.
3 more officers who defended the Capitol on January 6th are suing former President Trump for wrongful conduct inciting a riot. The lawsuit should be heard by a federal judge next week.
This evening, there's a video from Colorado appearing to show the early stages of the Marshall Fire, which forced tens of thousands to leave their homes last week. Colorado authorities say they are aware of the video and are investigating the fire. The cell phone video was published to YouTube Thursday and shows strong winds blowing, heavy smoke, and a shed burning as officials manage traffic. The man who shot the video said he noticed a small grass fire, but didn't really think it was any serious danger. Minutes later, he said he couldn't see in front of him, though. Heavy snowfall on Friday helped contain the fire completely, but officials have warned there are still areas that could flare back up.
If you walked outside today, you may have said, oh, it's a little bit warmer today, and it certainly was. 57 degrees is where we warmed up to. Didn't expect us to get this warm for today. 57 in Greensboro, 60 down in Lexington, Pinehurst at another 60. The winds have been out of the southwest. When we get these winds out of the southwest, we know that during the summertime, they certainly do warm us up, and they're doing just the same now in the winter season, allowing for us to be much warmer. And winds have been fairly gusty at times throughout the day. The fastest wind speed we had across the area today was in Greensboro at 24 miles per hour. Now tonight, I'm expecting temperatures to fall right around that freezing point to 33 and then warm back once again to 51. And you notice here down at the bottom, winds out of the west 10 to 15 miles per hour, but gusting up to 25. So we could see some gusty winds throughout the afternoon, especially tomorrow. Now this is timing out what potential activity we could see. As these temperatures fall, we will see some rainfall across the area and that snow potential, mainly, like I said, north. So more than likely, if you are in Danville, you could see a flake or two, but elsewhere, I'm really thinking that we could see rain. However, folks, just Reedsville area could even see a little bit of snow, but overall, this isn't going to be a winter weather wonderland for your day on Thursday. And then there's that black ice potential in the morning. I'll show the 7-day before the 4 p.m. hour ends.
To help you in 2022, we are kicking off something brand new today. My New Year's resolution is to try a life hack every single week to try to make all of our lives better. So I'm going to share them with you right here on the 4 to 5. And today, it's all about this wonderful thing right here. I wish I could juggle because I got 3 of them. It's how you peel an orange. Lauren, you want to show us the way you do it?
I've never been good at this, but
here's the secret. No one is good at it at all.
It takes too long.
Yeah, it's messy. But one guy who does know how to do it, so he says, is this one right here on YouTube. This video has more than 1 million views. It says you cut both ends off and then you slice through the middle, and look at this, like magic. So you see that, you think,
Oh,
we got to try this, Lauren.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to try this live. If it goes wrong, I'm sorry. But you cut off the ends here. We got one end and the other. It smells amazing.
It
though.
does.
And then cut into the middle. I'm not really sure where into the middle.
Make sure you're being careful, guys.
Yeah, and I hate this because you have to cut towards your hand through this. I've always been told not to do that. And then rip apart. Whoa! It kind of works.
Voila.
At least you got to it all. I wonder how easy it is to get this out. It's a little challenging, but it's better. I don't know that this was a change your life kind of hack, but hopefully we will find another one that is. I'm gonna try these all year long. So if you have life hacks, I'd love to hear about them. And if you at home have some too, just let me know on my Facebook page. All you gotta do is search for Watchdog Ben.
Yes, this is the hour when all of us start thinking, okay, what is for dinner? If you weren't thinking about it before, seeing all these beautiful food posts, no doubt is going to make you hungry. So when you look at all of this, my friends, and you see this from Pinterest and Instagram, is there anything from this video that stands out to you?
Listen, I'm so hungry after seeing all that. I'm glad I got this snack over here. They all look so delicious and easy to clean up because they're in one pan.
Yeah.
That is the key right there. One pan, because for one person, I don't like cleaning up a bunch of stuff.
And you know, even if you're cooking for a bunch of people, which sometimes I got to do before the pandemic here at the station, you can serve it all in one pan.
All of these are good things. Okay, one pan, the good old reliable sheet pan. But are they created equal? Do you need to spend a whole lot of money on a good pan? Consumer Reports is looking at the standard sheet pan.
Consumer Reports bought 19 pans and tested them in their lab, both coated and uncoated pans. The cooking test consisted of roasted chicken and vegetables on each pan to measure cooking speed. Then testers slathered a sticky mix of pumpkin and cream cheese and baked it on to see how easy the pans were to clean. Now check this out. The durability test is with steel wool and weights to see how they wear over time.
In general, uncoated pans cook a little more evenly, they're more durable, but they're harder to clean.
Consumer Reports pick for an uncoated pan is this $18 Nordic ware pan. It heats evenly and aced CR's durability test. Now, how did the coated nonstick pans test?
We found that coated pans heat up and cook faster, and they're much easier to clean.
The Williams-Sonoma Gold Touch Pro non-stick, non-corrugated half sheet for $33 heats up quickly and is the easiest to clean. But don't miss this. The Consumer Reports Best Buy coated pan is from Walmart. The Mainstays Gold non-stick aluminized half sheet pan got high marks overall, and it's just $8.
$8, people, $8. Nice. I think a lot of times I just think of my sheet pan as what I use for like my cookies or maybe just a side veggie. This makes me kind of want to do more.
Yeah, I've done some of these one pan dishes. Pinterest has lots of ideas and it's great for meal prep too.
The one thing I will say about them though is that everything you eat ends up tasting the same. So you can't have like spicy carrots and a sour chicken, something like that.
It's almost got to be like almost like a casserole, but in a sheet pan.
Yeah.
Or if you did like two smaller sheet pans with two different meals and then put them in the oven at the same time, maybe they wouldn't taste like each.
Okay, and for $8 at Walmart, you can buy several of those sheet pans, right? Okay, so coated sheet pans are steel underneath so they can rust. So you know what they say? Dry them completely in the oven while it's warm, which by the way, that's where I keep my sheet pans anyway. Is that where you keep your sheet pans?
That's where I actually bought, don't ask me why, but I had to bake like 5 dozen cookies once. And so I had to buy a sheet pan that was the size of the oven.
Okay.
And so that's the only place where it lives.
We always keep our cast iron skillet in the oven because there's just nowhere else it's too big.
Right.
And I forget it's there. So every time I turn on the oven, it starts smoking. I'm like, what in the world?
All right, now that we made you hungry, you can Google sheet pan meals in the break. We'll be right back.
Well, college is hard enough, but hats off to students who choose schools on the other side of the world. I met 4 here in Greensboro who did just that for one woman. A science lab.
Are we ready?
Nothing looks out of the ordinary, except these scientists don't call Greensboro or America home.
Most of my students, they come from Nigeria, they come from Ghana, and they come from India, they come from Sri Lanka, and all those countries also facing this scarcity for the fresh water.
Not 1, not 2, but 4 students left their home countries and flew to Greensboro to join UNCG's Dr. Hamali Ratnayaki's research. Research that has received $3.5 million in funding.
I'm here to find solutions to purify water bodies for our community.
It's going to inject the instrument, and then it's going to detect how much it's absorbed our material and how much is coming out from the water sample.
One project uses nanoscience, science on a microscopic scale to efficiently clean drinking water. All of these students share the same story as their professor. They grew up with little fresh water.
Growing up in India, I used to as a child, I used to go on a motorcycle with my dad. Like I used to sit on back of his motorbike, and then always wonder, like there's so much pollution and people don't really care.
Sometimes you have to walk miles to find a well, and everybody does not have their own well.
Knowing this research work could make a difference at home, these students came here with a heart for change.
I'm very, very grateful because I'm passing through a learning process, and it's a gradual process, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
When I look back, I feel like, yeah, I think this was not me when I came in, and the confidence I built up just being in the lab and learning new things.
But it hasn't always been a walk in the park.
Going out of your comfort zone, you don't really like the transition, but she always like pushes and says, you know, you can do it.
I just thought it was so interesting. All of the students are not from America. And so to come here because you're so passionate about helping your home country, because none of those countries have clean drinking water. That is a big issue in a lot of countries other than America. So for them, they were like, I'm leaving my family because they need this clean drinking water. And if they're doing that here in America, I want to learn that so I can literally bring it back to them as soon as I graduate.
That's what I love about this story as well, because clean drinking water is something a lot of us here in America probably take for granted, don't even think twice about. So hearing the stories of these individuals that live in those countries that don't have that easy access to water, I think it really helps to put it in perspective for us here at home that might not have been aware of that beforehand.
And it's so motivational too to see the students going into this, knowing what they want to do to make their community better and going all the way around the world to make it happen. So many people go to college to find themselves, but these guys had a clear path through this and a plan.
Monique, I'm just, you mentioned it at the top of the story, but it's wild to think that, obviously we've all been to college, we've moved away from home, and, a lot of nervous excitement about that kind of stuff, but then to do it in another country on the other side of the planet, possibly in another language. I mean, that takes some guts.
And certainly a couple of the students are from Asian American countries, and having an Asian American teacher as well to be able to look at, and we often talk about here on the show how representation matters, and it matters for all cultures, and to be able to be in a space where your teacher looks like you makes all the difference for some of these students who are also from Asian American countries.
Absolutely, Monique. And I think it's great and exciting that just so much is happening here in Greensboro in our own backyard, something that's going to impact people all over the world.
All right, time to put you on the spot, Monique. You've been doing this for a while now, these Mo on the Go stories. How has this been for you?
Every time I sit down and people start to talk, I'm like, do you know how powerful you are? These women I'm sitting with talking, like, to imagine you attracted students who are all the way in Nigeria, you had no clue what you were doing. And even the story I have coming up next week, just to give you a little teaser, she was a teen mom. And at that time, she had no clue what that would do for her here in Greensboro, because she's all the way from New York. So these women are just really, really powerful. It's really a great experience to be a part of this.
That's great. We'll be right back.
Well, you gotta check this out. A Texas couple is engaged to be married, and they have one unique thing on their registry that money can't buy. They're searching for another couple who took their picture on their very first date. Take a listen.
It's like, hey, so there's nowhere to sit. Can we share this pretty big couch with you guys?
While sitting together, one of the strangers asked how long Andrew and Lindsay had been together. Andrew Murray and Lindsay Luther want to invite the couple to their wedding. Andrew and Lindsay met on Match.com back in 2019 and had their first date at a hotel. After having dinner inside, the pair went to the hotel's rooftop and noticed it was crowded. That's when they met the couple who would later take their first ever picture together.
Andrew jumps in. He's like, yeah, we've been married 2 years, almost 3 years, right? He like looks at me, he's like, right? And I'm kind of jaw dropped thinking, oh my gosh, okay, I guess I'm gonna roll with this story.
So Andrew and Lindsay eventually revealed it was a first date, and the guy took their photo and said, in case you ever do get married, this will be a photo you can both look back on and laugh about. Lindsay and Andrew are set to be married in April and hope to find the couple before then to give them a wedding invite.
No doubt will those people come forward, because the power of social media, I mean, you can find anybody in this country within a day or two, as long as you have people sharing and retweeting your story.
I just love this story. It makes me think it would make for a good champagne toast, like at their wedding, to be like, we met them, they said they were already married, but they weren't, and we took their first picture. So I just love it.
And how good to have that memory too. I know first dates are burned in a lot of people's memory, but to be able to see it and remember, oh, this is actually what we wore, you were right. That's awesome.
Let's hope that this story will get the word out there. So if you know those folks or they've been talking about it, make sure that you let them know that this couple is looking for them.
And props on having a good first date,
Yeah.
right? Because those don't happen all the time.
Especially online dates. There's a lot of interesting characters out here in this world. So I'm glad they were able to hit it off, because that doesn't always happen.
Right, absolutely. Monique.
I'm glad to help change that subject. We talk about rain early in the week, talking about Thursday, Friday, but the weekend also does feature some rain as we go through your Sunday. Could bring in some rain for the start of your Monday. When we talk about how much rain could we expect to see through the weekend, we're roughly around about an inch of rainfall, less than an inch of rainfall through Monday afternoon across the board. Haven't shown the 7-day yet, but I'm going to give you more than enough time to soak it all in. So for your Thursday going into your Friday, that's when we could be looking at evening rain. And like I said, that snow potential shifted more north and west of us, but certainly the cold air is going to do its thing on Friday as those temperatures fall down into the 20s and then warm up to just around the mid 30s, and then the weekend staying on the chilly side.
Okay. Another one is good if you melt honey in the microwave.
Hey, mic check one. Microphone already, or IFB or something.
Hi, Callie. 1, 2, 3.
I mean, we joke. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4.
The line at Four Seasons Town Center actually stretches
It's time for my 2 cents. It's the start of a new year, which means resolutions, goals, whatever you want to call them, are probably top of mind for a lot of people. I know I have a few of my own. Maintain healthy eating, continue to save, and find a new hobby. I think it's great to have a plan and envision the life you want for yourself, where you want your career to go, or maybe the kind of car you want to be able to buy one day. That being said, I think we can sometimes get too caught up in the destination we see in our heads, instead of embracing the reality we are in now. For example, one day I like to be a homeowner, have a family of my own, and be at the top of my career. All are achievable, but it's likely they won't all happen this year. If I set out to make these my immediate goals for the new year, I may get frustrated, lose hope, and throw in the towel altogether. Embracing my now means setting realistic goals that can be achieved in my current environment. Embracing my now means being open to the fact that life won't always happen the way I want it to. Embracing my now means making the best of any situation. Continue to shoot for the stars, but focus on being the best you can be where you are right now. When you're at your best, you'll be better equipped for the life you want to achieve. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We're 2 years into this. Everybody knows what to do. They know how to protect themselves, their family, their community.
Guilford County leaders divided over a new mask mandate that covers part of the county.
The concern that I have